Finished training for the day? Time to fight post-workout fatigue with Core Power Protein Shakes. They're packed with 26 grams of high-quality protein to build muscle and electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to help your body replenish, rebuild, and repair post-workout so you can power on to the next one. Champion your recovery with Core Power. Visit corepower.com to learn more.
Saturday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength, Saturday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Saturday. Saturday, bring it on.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
You're listening to the Super Rugby Cymru podcast.
Hello and welcome to the SRC podcast. Today we are previewing RGC season, and joining me is none other than their forwards coach, Saul Nelson. I'm hoping I pronounced that right. I didn't just ask you.
It's bang on.
Good, brilliant. How are you? Thank you for joining me.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me in.
Okay, so let's get started. Nice and easy thing. So tell me about the coaching setup with RGC. Who's involved? Obviously, you're the forwards coach. Who else makes up the team?
Yeah, there's Josh Leach is obviously a director of rugby. Josh takes overall charge of the program and the organisation side of it. Also sit and organises the attack and puts general game plans in place. We've got Avon Bagshaw, who is predominantly coach, but also still hanging on in there playing and doing a great job. He and myself look after the defence as well. That's good. Really enjoy working with both Josh and Avon. And then obviously myself here with a bit of set piece added in there as well. An area of the game that I absolutely love.
So there's your starting block. So talk me through some of the key players at the club. Who are like your senior men? Who are the ones really leading this team?
I think just if we can go back to staff, I think it's really important that there's a fair old team of staff up there, not just rugby coaches. We've got like Sean Howard in the gym, Cal Owls on the analysis front, and then obviously our medical team of Oran and Owen. With team manager Dav, and I know Gav Hodgson is also helps out and does a fair bit as well. So I think it's really important that we mention those guys first. It really is a team effort. In terms of key players, obviously we've got a fair bit of experience back in the squad with Billy McBride and Danny Cross coming back in. They've been really key to how we've looked at playing, and when I use the word play, I mean let's be positive with the word play and try our hardest to go and score as many tries as possible, and making sure that like the overall game plan is ran as close to as perfect as anyone can ever do. Those boys are really key to that. I think the key players for us up front. Some of the senior players like Sam Williams, Ilan, like young players that are coming through. Yeah, we're probably quite blessed in North Wales in terms of the situation that we're in and our senior academy players and the age profile of the SRC in which which the purpose of the league is for. Like we've got obviously a gold group of senior academy players that are 19, 20, 21. And in years gone by, they would, for that league, and the English champ would be full of RGC players, and we're fortunate to have a couple come back, and with the younger players that are coming up, like last year with Dylan Alford, Teddy Jones, Tom Cottle being captain of Wales under 18s. We'll have a little bit of time before we see Tom Cottle. He's not 18 yet, but you'll see those lads blooded pretty soon, and it's exciting times for some of the young players that we've got, and they're great young men, and not just good rugby players. Good people to work with.
So you've got a settled coaching setup. You've got a fairly strong. I mean, you've essentially got your own academy of North Wales to deal with. So that must be amazing for just to be involved in a club like that. So obviously we're into the season now, but how was training during the off season? Where were your focuses? Was it having conditioning blocks, rugby blocks, or was it more of a mix and match? What sort of approach did you guys take?
Early on, I think when we first came back in, it was really important that we, as a group, addressed like performances and things that had been achieved in the previous years. And we felt like we needed a change of mindset, and it wasn't necessarily the players' ability, but we needed to shift in mindset of how they train, how they approach training. Pre-season was good fun. Like I would say it was good fun. Like obviously I wasn't doing the running, so it's all well and good when you're standing there with a whistle in your mouth. But like early doors, there was an element of raising the bar each week, and that was a big focus for us when we looked back at the sports scientists and the figures. And Sean was pretty hot on making sure that we were doing what we needed to do without overdoing it, and making sure that then when we transitioned from a lot of condition games into how we want the game to look, that element of adding the rugby knowledge and stuff like that, we tried our hardest to make it game relative, and try to do our utmost to keep it 15 on 15 as far as possible. And that was had its own challenges, but it was certainly a real enjoyable pre-season.
So, well, I think very unfortunately, the general public are not going to get to see an RGC game live on telly until December. So what sort of style of play are you employing this season? What will we get to see once that televised game comes on?
We looked at like our strengths and where we have some really strong players, and what we really wanted to see. And I know what the fans fed back that they really wanted to see was they wanted to see some rugby and rugby being played, and by opening up some mindsets of players and adding increased skill level. Like we want to see a fast flowing game and moving the ball, and if there's a set piece there, and people are going to laugh, and they're like, I want to go in here and say yes, I want to see off the top ball and not just mauls and not just scrums. Like as much as I love those, I genuinely want to see the lads express themselves and ultimately use the ability that they've got. We've also got some very, very like rugby intelligent players as well. So it's like when I say it's exciting to coach. And we spoke about all pre-season and each game, just focusing on our processes and making sure that we get that right, and we focus on ourselves and our own KPIs, and not necessarily worrying about the result. If we get our bits right, then predominantly we should get the result that we perform to achieve. So yeah, it's definitely hopefully by Christmas, and we've seen glimpses of it, and we've talked about being more consistent with it. A lot of open rugby, a lot of movement of the ball, a lot of maybe a bit of kicking in there, but kicking to compete, kicking to score tries, and all the exciting stuff that people want to see is ultimately what we're striving to achieve.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Focus on yourself first. I'm a massive advocate for that. So you are absolutely massive in area. So what sort of challenges do you face, covering such a vast area? I mean, I'm assuming you're not like other teams where everyone is within like a 5-10 mile radius.
Oh no, definitely not. No, so we obviously cover North and Mid Wales in terms of it's half the country. When you look at the number of rugby clubs in North Wales, there's only 32 rugby clubs. And they're spread out across the North Coast, and a few obviously in the mountains, and a few in Mid Wales. The geographical area and the distance between clubs is a challenge. We also face challenges from like rugby is probably a third sport in North Wales behind cricket, believe it or not, and obviously football. So there's the challenges there, and the clubs do a great job in North Wales, and every player that comes into RGC, like they're so passionate about their club, and it's tribal, and they are tribal about their clubs, and to see that passion when I first came up here was incredible. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist everywhere, because I know it does. But like I know we when we looked at the academy stuff, I needed the young lads coming through to have that affection and that tribalism for playing for RGC as well. And that's something we've tapped into massively around the emotional side of who we are and who we represent. And every time the lads come into training, they know that they're coming in and they've got to leave having achieved something and been better as they leave as when they've walked down. Like you said, like for me, like it's really exciting to have that challenge, because it is a challenge, but it's also exciting because the desire to play rugby and the desire for them to represent themselves and their families and their clubs is huge.
Yeah. So I'm not going to lie to you. When us as a podcast and a review for the season, none of us were very nice on where we thought RGC was going to finish. I think all of us are probably regretting that after the first 2 weeks. So what were the expectations going into the season? You know, I know you're focusing on yourself for your game plan, but where did you see yourself?
I think everyone has their own expectations on where we've never discussed a league finish. And I'd be 100% honest, we've never discussed where we want to finish. I think everyone wants to win and everyone wants to finish top of the league. No one wants to finish in mid-table. No one wants to finish at the bottom of the league. So, like, our focus was genuinely 100% about us, and getting the things that we can do right and being better at the things that we're very good at and working hard on the things that we weren't great at, which hopefully those gaps are getting smaller and smaller. And then when we look at like raising the bar and what that means to the group, it's something that we can attach real meaning to when we look back at training, when we look back at games, when we look at the information that we're getting from the match reports. Generally there wasn't a let's finish in the top four or the top, because everyone wants to win. So my personal opinion, I've never thought about, I'd like to win. I wouldn't be playing rugby if I didn't want to win. I wouldn't be coaching if I didn't want the players to be the best that they can be.
That's a great way to take it, a great way to approach it. You know, you got to want to win every game, you know, regardless if it happens. So we this is a preview that's been recorded in between round 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So I've got to talk to you about those first 2 games. Now, personally, I've had a bit of a rant about this on the actual podcast, in the fact that Cardiff announced their squad, they put out these are the academy players we got, and then they just chucked 4 pro players into the starting 15 against you. I thought that was very, very cheeky. Fair play to you. I think that game lasted another 3 more minutes. You'd have come away with at least a draw. No, that was outstanding. And then this past Saturday, basically overturning the Drovers. I mean, not many people would have predicted that. Not many people would have seen it come in. I mean, I know obviously we're Wednesday now. So what's the emotion been like in the squad? You know, is that like yes, we've done it, or is it like okay, that's done?
The emotion I think is obviously when the game finished, like you can see the what it means to the players. And when we spoke about how we play against Llandovery and their threats, obviously they're used to winning. And they're very good. They've got a lot of very, very good players and they're very well coached. we like the things that we knew we had to get right off the back of how we started against Cardiff and how we got ourselves back into the game and the lessons that we learned around some game management stuff against Cardiff. I thought the boys executed that really well against Llandovery. We started well. I mean, we were on the points on the board pretty early doors. Llandovery, as they were going to get back in the game, and they did that quite effectively. And there was a point in the game where, like, I'm thinking to myself, right, let's strangle them now. Let's see them off. Let's see if we can get a 6-pointer. That sort of statement would be huge. But being the team that they are and deserved champions from the past couple of years, they made it pretty difficult, and they took it right to the wire. So, it was a huge amount of elation. I know the boys celebrated with a beer, and I think when you win and you beat the last 2 champions, I think they're quite right within themselves to have a beer. And then we came in Tuesday. And there was a real positive energy about the place, and quite rightly, everyone enjoys winning. No one likes to come in having lost 2 on the bounce. But I genuinely believe that the team were very constructive in the way that they reviewed the game themselves, as a staff, and we know where we want to get to and how we want the game to look, and we just keep plugging away and being better at the things that we're good at and working hard on the things that we want to be even better at.
That's brilliant. I mean, well, what more can you want from a club? You want to progress. That's all you want. And something you said in there has brought me on to my next question really, really nicely. So rugby stuff's done. Let's talk about some fun stuff. So first one up, how much is a pint in the clubhouse?
I'm going to say it depends what it is.
Come on.
Obviously depends what it is. The pint of cider that I know several people participate in is going to be £4. Some are £3.75. It's fully worth coming up to North Wales for a cheap pint.
I know, that's not bad. I'll take that. Okay, let's next. What we got? Who is the last one in the shower?
Who's the last one in the shower? I'm normally waiting for a ride back to Rill with my nephew Paddy. He's normally pretty late in the shower, but normally when he's leaving, Avon's in the shower. There's normally a couple of the older boys. They kind of have their meetings in the showers on the training nights.
Oh, that's brilliant. Okay.
I'm not sure who the longest in the shower is.
Okay, so who's the first one to leave? He's last one in, first one out. Which players are?
I think it'd be unfair of me to name someone of that. We're get done what needs to get done, and then we'll all leave en masse. I think that's probably the.
All right then. Okay.
So who's first in? It's difficult because people coming in at different times of the day. So, and we've got lads that are potentially working away and like running down the ramp to get in, training late, and there's probably 1 or 2 that are first at the ramp.
Okay.
So that should remain our secret.
I'll go with the complete opposite direction now to finish. Who's the club man of RGC? Who is the first one in, last one out? Who is the guy that he just really embodies what the club stands for?
There's probably a few players like that, to be honest. I know the easiest one that comes to mind would be Avon Bagshaw, but I think it's not really counting being first one there because he's also a member of staff, so he's in early. But yeah, there's not a huge amount that goes on that Avon's not amongst them. Who else would be Dan Owen has been pretty awesome the last couple of games with his performances, but yeah, just like how he is around the environment, and same with Danny Cross. Billy McBride's been great. Dion's been fantastic in training as well. So yeah, there's a fair few that we're probably pretty unique in that respect, that like we're 99.9% North Walians, which is something to be real proud of.
Well, that's everything I've got for you. Thank you for answering all of my questions. I wish you well for the season, even though you probably don't need it after these 2 results.
I I think we're certainly not getting ahead of ourselves, and we know that we've got a lot of hard work to do. It's just a great environment for players to try and be better every day, and hopefully we see that in the performances and make the park area or stadium CSM as we call it, make sure that's a real hard place to people come and play, and if they do win up in North Wales, they thoroughly deserve it.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely amazing. So thank you very much for joining me. I look forward to catching up with you again in the future. Goodbye.
That was the Super Rugby Cymru podcast. Please rate, review and share us on socials if you can, and join us again next week for more of the same. And until then, enjoy your rugby.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
They got Willa. They got my daughter. I need to find her.
From acclaimed director Paul Thomas Anderson.
You can save that girl.
Today, experience what is being called the best movie of the year.
This is the end of the line. Not for you.
Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Tiana Taylor, Chase Infinity.
Let's go! Here I come.
One battle after another. Now playing only in theaters. Experience it in IMAX. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent.
You can't hide.